G'day.
How's it going, guys? My name's Isaac and I've done Breville white glove service for a lot of you guys that have this amazing coffee machine. Now, with this coffee machine here, this is going to be a cleaning run through. So there's two aspects to this cleaning run through. There's the daily cleaning cycle and then the monthly cleaning cycle. This is going to give you the best longevity out of your machine, both in flavor as well as function. So what we're going to start with is I'm just going to pull out the tools, which basically are underneath here. That's our tool storage. All right. And I'm going to start with our daily cleaning cycle. The daily cleaning cycle is very, very simple. And I'm going to run that cycle just here on the Oracle. Okay, so all we're going to need is to grab basically our little rubber disc. I call it a plug. It's nice and simple. It's easy to understand. Okay, I'm going to grab that plug, that rubber disc. I'm going to load it into our handle. So because I've loaded that into a handle, it's going to stop any water coming through. So what's going to happen is when I lock this into the coffee machine and I run a cleaning cycle in just a moment, no water is going to come through. It's going to build up pressure inside, and then it's going to open up a valve at the back and allow that pressure to escape with force, taking any of the coffee grind that builds up as you make espresso from inside the machine and flush it out into our tray at the bottom. Okay, now to go into the cleaning cycle itself, we actually hit our menu exit button just here, right? And then we're going to use our little scroll dial. We're going to scroll that across until our little cleaning cycle just here starts to flash, and then it says the word push on it. Then you're actually going to push the select button. Now that select button has activated the cleaning cycle itself. This cleaning cycle will now build up pressure inside the head, as I mentioned before. Right? As you can hear, that's holding that pressure inside there. Then it's going to, at 350 seconds, release that pressure into the tray. Okay? And there we go. This will repeat that cycle for 370 seconds in total until that is clear. Now that is our daily cycle once you're finished with the coffee machine. Okay, a very, very simple cycle, very practical. Now the main benefit of this is it's going to get rid of any coffee grind that builds up when you make your normal espressos. Okay, you need to clean that out, otherwise it's like crumbs in a toaster. They'll just keep building up and they'll burn and they'll taint your coffee. Okay, so we need to flush those out. Now I'm actually going to cancel this cycle because I'm going to do our monthly cycle. Now the monthly cycle has 3 parts. Okay, we have our steam wand clean, we have our group clean, and then we have our grinder clean, which comes both as top and bottom. Okay, now with our steam wand clean, the whole cycle takes 15 minutes, by the way, guys. Very simple, very time efficient cycle. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our steam wand and we'll walk you through the stages. So with our steam wand, we're going to get our milk jug just here, right? And I'm actually going to fill that milk jug up with hot water because I need hot water to clean this steam wand just here. So while that's filling with hot water, I'm going to bring my steam wand out and I'm actually going to unscrew and remove the very tip of that steam wand. Once that tip has been removed, I'll have 2 components. Now they have changed some of these components on the further models of the Oracle, so be aware you might not need to remove this second component, this little rubber bit here. Okay, I've removed those. Now what I've got is I've got enough hot water in my jug here. Now you want enough water in the jug that it's going to come over this little white gasket seal just here. Okay, what we're then going to do is then we're going to be using a little bit of our cleaning chemical. It can come in little sachets, tablets, whatever the case may be. We're going to be using a ½ teaspoon scoop in there into our water. Now what this will do is this is going to start to foam up and it's going to start to dissolve any fats from the milk buildup on our steam wand and in our steam tip. Then after it's soaked, we're going to then give it a really good wipe and a rinse, and then that will be all done and finished. Okay, so I've loaded that up and in. So that steam wand's good to go. Now, the next stage is we're going to use the same cleaner, guys, and we're going to add that to our handle. As I said before, I've added that plug in, but this time we're going to run it with a little bit of chemical. So what the chemical does, as it does very, very similarly with the milk, is the chemical will dissolve the oils from the coffees inside the machine and prevent that buildup. And again, the tainting of those burning oils and flavors over time. So this is our monthly clean. We're going to lock that in, and you're going to go to the exact same cleaning cycle that we did before for our daily clean. So we're going to press our menu exit button. We're going to scroll till it says cleaning cycle, and then we're going to push the button. That is our monthly cleaning cycle. That's the one where we use chemical. The daily cleaning cycle, no chemical, okay? You don't need to run it that often, okay? Okay, so now we have our steam wand soaking. We have our group head going through its cleaning cycle. Now we need to get to our grinder. Now the grinder has two parts. We have a top and then we have a bottom section. Okay, so the top section here, we're actually going to remove the hopper. So it has a little lever on the top there that says lock or unlock. You're gonna unlock it. So turn it towards the unlock direction. That is gonna remove the hopper. Pop that hopper just to the side to the moment. Okay, now in the top section here, we're gonna have some coffee grind. And we're going to have some coffee beans, and it's going to be a mix of both. Now the ideal way to clean this, and the simplest way to clean this, is with a vacuum cleaner. I know it might sound silly, but it is very effective, because what it's going to do with the vacuum cleaner, it's going to have really good suction, and it's going to pull all the really micro fine grind that builds up inside our grinder that can put extra pressure on it, as well as start to filter its way through into our dosing chamber and start to clog that as well. So we're going to give this a vacuum really quickly. It's only going to take a moment. And that's it, vacuumed, simple, easy. Only takes a few seconds, okay? And that cleans out 90% of that buildup, okay? Now, the other option for you guys is you can actually buy a product designed for grinders, and it's a grinder cleaner product that you can put through the grinder to maintain the sharpness of those burrs inside that grind up your coffee, as well as get rid of any oil buildup. I would always recommend that one, but that one you don't need to run as often as that monthly clean. You could probably run that one every 3 months, and one packet of that's gonna last you a long time. Okay, now the next section we do is we're going to be doing the bottom section of our grinder. Now the bottom section of our grinder, we're actually going to be using this little hard bristled brush. It's got a magnet on it. This magnet is going to remove our tamping mechanism. So we make sure the magnet is facing up, and that magnet is then attaching to a magnet in the tamper. We're then going to grab the bristles and we're going to lift up. So it's actually going to lever. Right, and what's going to do is it's going to remove our tamping mechanism. Now this tamping mechanism, as you can see, is a little bit dirty, okay? Now all you really need to do to clean up this mechanism here is you can use a microfiber cloth, you can pop it into the sink, you can wash it, right? Give it a really, really good clean, a really good wipe down, and that's all you really need to do. It's very, very simple, very quick. As I said, the whole cycle is only going to take 15 minutes, okay? And using a microfiber cloth is really good because it gets rid of any oil buildup on there as well. Here we go, all nice and clean. All right, it's gotten rid of all the coffee oils and all the coffee grind. Okay, now before we put that back up there, we do need to do 2 other steps. We have our little brush just here, right? And we also have those hard bristles. We're going to use those hard bristles now. We're going to insert it up and in the back of our grinder. Now the reason for that is that bristle is going to go in the chute up to the base of our burrs up here. Basically all you're going to do is move it around a little bit and pull it out, and what that'll do is it just makes sure that the chute from the top to the bottom is clear and there's no buildup of coffee grind. Okay, the next stage is using this little soft bristle brush, and this is for getting in and around, because we have a switch in there to activate our grinder. Now that switch itself is going to build up with coffee grind and can potentially jam, and you won't be able to lock your handle in. So we need to make sure we're cleaning this to make sure the function of that grinder is working okay. So we're looking at the 2 brushes all done. Only takes a few moments. I'm just going to give this a little bit of a wipe here into my tray. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to then reinsert our little tamping unit. Now with the tamping unit, it basically has like a key-like setup here. It's got 2 flat edges and 2 curved edges. What I like to do is I reach underneath and I feel for the two flat edges. The reason why I feel for them is because this spins and rotates as it tamps our coffee. So we can't just lift it up the same way each time, we have to check. So I feel for the two flat edges, then I'm going to line them up, and I'm going to lift that up just with the tips of my fingers, turning it just a little bit from side to side, just so that way it then locks in nicely. So that is our grinder, all clear and clean. Now the one thing that I haven't talked about, which I will now, is this hopper here that we removed right in the beginning. This hopper, ideally, what I would suggest is you empty out the coffee beans into a container. They're not going to stay there. Then hot water, and then you wipe this over with a microfiber cloth or a tea towel. Now the reason why we use hot water only is because you don't want any detergent on this, even residual detergent, because it's going to taint the flavor of your coffee. So make sure hot water only, and this is not dishwasher safe, so do not put this in the dishwasher. Okay, so I'm going to actually put that back on, turn it into the lock position, put that lid back on. Okay, so that is basically our grinder all done and dusted. Now I didn't actually wash this for you today, guys, but I'm pretty sure you can get the gist of giving it a wash with hot water and a dry. Now the cleaning cycle here in the middle is just about finished. Okay, we've only got 10 seconds remaining on this one here. So time-wise, we're basically on point. Okay, so this is finishing up. It's flushing that last lot through our handle into our tray, right? And can't see a lot, but we've cleaned out a lot of coffee and oils. Now this is just the remainder that settles in the bottom of the handle. Most of it has gone into our tray here. Okay, so I'm just going to tip that last little bit of remaining into our tray. I'm going to remove that plug, pop it to the side, and lock that back in. So that's all done. That group is all clean, it's all flushed. It's all I would recommend before making a coffee is you put one handle of coffee through, so grind up the coffee, extract the coffee, but don't drink that one, just to make sure there's no residual chemical in there. It's not ultimately that bad, but it does have a laxative effect, so please be aware. Okay, and it doesn't make the coffee taste very good either. Okay, so just running that coffee through just before you make yours, very important aspect. Now the last and final thing that we've got is that steam wand. Now that's been soaking the entire time. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a cloth nice and quick just here, and then I'm just going to give this a wipe. Okay, here we go. I've got a nice cloth just here. Now that cloth there, I'm going to give this a really, really good wipe. So what will happen is you'll have milk buildup along this little thermometer here. So this is a reader that reads our temperature here, and then it will get milk buildup around that thread and around the base here. The other thing that you will get, and I'll tip this out here, all right, is you will get milk buildup on this little rubber seal here. All right, that's why we clean that one off. We'll also get build up on the actual tip itself. Okay, making sure we give that a really, really good clean. We do have one little extra bit, and that's this little tip cleaner just here. That tip cleaner is designed to basically be inserted into the little holes on the end of the tip, just to make sure that they're completely clear and clean. My suggestion is after you use that, make sure you get the cloth and get to the back of that steam tip. Really important, otherwise all you've done is just push the milk in, and it's then gonna, with pressure, block those holes again. Okay, so that's all cleaned up. I'm going to screw that part back on just there. Screw this part here back on. I'm just going to grab a tiny bit of fresh water, nice and cold. And this is our rinsing cycle. So cold water, in goes our steam wand, and we're going to activate one automatic cycle. That is then going to heat that water up to the 60 degrees I've got the machine set to, and then that is all rinsed and good to go. So this cycle here is our, first we started with our daily cycle, then we did our full monthly cycle. So that's about 15 minutes in total for that monthly cycle if you were to clean that hopper as well. So really simple, effective cycle to keep your machine in the best working order, as well as making the best tasting coffee. Okay, so that's just finishing up there, and we've got another 10 degrees to go. And that's our machine there. Now, the only difference between this machine in that monthly cycle and our Oracle Touch just over here, the only difference in the cycle itself is how we get to the cleaning cycle. There is no other difference between the machines except how we access the cleaning cycle itself. So the cleaning cycle just on this one here, okay, the way we access that cleaning cycle for the group head here. So normally we'd bring that group head, we'll lock that in over here. The cleaning cycle, we press the little gear button in the top right hand corner. Then it actually says cleaning cycle right there in the middle. With this machine, it'll actually tell you to put the plug in or the porta filter, and then it will tell you to put either the powder or the tablet on, and then you'll have a start button to go into it. But that is the only difference in the cleaning cycles between these two machines. So I'm hoping that has helped you guys. There's a lot of information there, but you only have to do this once a month, 15 minutes, and you're all good, and your machine's gonna be great. Thanks.